everyone. Okay. Hello and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time to join us today as we talk about our theme this month, hashtag Stay Cyber Safe. As we all know, October is celebrated as Cybersecurity Awareness Month globally. This year's theme was Free Yourself in Cyber, Together We Make It Safer. Focusing on the people part of the cybersecurity, providing information and resources to help spread awareness. Cybercell, in collaboration with Legal Aid and Support Center, a committee of KPMG and MIMS, took an initiative to raise awareness regarding cyber issues and cyber hacks. Through our posts, we have covered contemporary topics like basic safety practices, shoulder surfing, how to surf securely online, phishing, OTP hacking, and password security. So make sure to check out our posts on our Instagram pages, as the posts contain extensive details about these topics. Cybersecurity is a broad topic, covering many different disciplines, actions, threats, and ideas. However, these parts come back to the same idea, protecting people's digital lives and assets, which is going to be the main theme of our discussion today also. Things like digital currency, data, and access to some computers are valuable targets for criminals. So protecting them is very crucial. I remember when we were discussing about this collaboration, we all were discussing how crucial it has become to spread awareness on cybersecurity. Cybersecurity has become a central issue as digital technologies play a bigger role in everyone's lives. Cybersecurity professionals are in demand to protect the data from risk elements. Some sources even say that cybercrimes could be inevitable to evade in the future. With everyone being online now, it is time that we inculcate safer practices in our routine. So, without further delay, let me introduce our speakers for today's session. Joining us today, we have Rhy Shahir, Vice Chairperson of Cybercell, a soon-run committee with the goal of spreading general awareness of cyber law and its allied areas among its students and the general public at large. We also have Karishma Maheshwari joining us today, Vice Chairperson of Legal Aid and Support Center, also a soon-run committee that aims to bring about a positive social legal change and impact in the society. Welcome everyone. How are you guys feeling today?
I'm well. How are you?
Yeah,
I'm fine. Some viewers have started taking notes already. So let's dive into the questions. Shall we? Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
The National Crime Bureau shows that India had almost 53,000 incidents of cyber crimes in 2021, and those were just the ones that were reported. Keeping this in mind, my question to you is, what are different kinds of cyber crimes and who is more susceptible to them?
That's an interesting question because in this day and age, not just old people, and it's not just limited to email scams and such. There's many kind of cybercrimes. So going forward, there's three major kinds: cybercrimes that affect individuals, that affect property, and that affect the government at large. I think at this stage, cybercrimes that affect the government at large would be classified into cyber terrorism, which is a whole other territory. So I'll be focusing on cybercrimes. So starting off, cybercrimes of many kinds. First, DDoS attacks. This is basically when a site is overwhelmed with a lot of traffic, and through these kind of attacks, hackers aim to take whole networks down by affecting, other third-party devices. They do this by depositing malware on other users' devices, and when this malware affects site traffic, they try to take the entire system down in itself. Moving forward, how they do this is through botnets. So botnets are basically networks that compromise computers and their data by controlling them externally, and this is done by remote hackers. So these people send spams or attacks to other computers through such botnets. They can also be used to act as malware and perform malicious tasks, such as, a very good example of this is all of your personal information that you contain within your laptop or within your computers being stolen by such kind of bots. Moving forward, there's identity theft. Of course, this is one of the most worst forms of cybercrimes because this can lead to legal repercussions faced by you if you don't file a report yourself soon enough. So this cybercrime occurs when a criminal gains access to any user's personal information. They use this to steal funds, to access confidential information, or even participate in tax or health insurance fraud. This legal liability can fall upon you, so it's best to take action by as soon as you spot your data being compromised. Then comes cyber stalking. Of course, many of us might be familiar with the concept of online bullying, cyber stalking, all of these things. So this is mainly done through social media, and this is prevalent among youngsters for the most part. And our information that we put online, such as the locations where we're going, the places that we frequent, all of this information could be used by cyber stalkers to threaten us or even to, extort money from us. Then comes social engineering, which is criminals making direct contact with you, usually by phone or email. Sometimes they pose as bank agents, sometimes they pose as customer delivery agents to gain access to your confidential information that you might not otherwise give other people access to. This could include credit card information. This could include your Aadhaar PIN, anything of such kinds. Then there's potentially unwanted programs. These are less threatening than other cyber crimes, but they still slow down your devices and they still depend on your device strength to maliciously increase their own sales. So this includes any applications that you did not consent to downloading, or this includes any softwares or browser extensions that you might not have downloaded yourself, but you gave particular fishy websites access to your permissions or to your data. So that is how such programs can get onto your devices. Then, of course, there's phishing or online scams. In this, people send you email attachments or URLs. A very good example of this is while we were discussing this, I think Karishma here had also mentioned that her friend fell, victim to such an attack. So they can attach any such websites to these emails, and these websites gain access to your laptop at large. I think that covers most of the points I was here to talk about. Moving forward, we would be discussing strategies to, counter these kind of attacks, or how best we can prevent ourselves from falling victim to them. So I'd like to pass the mic back to Akansha.
Thank you, Rhy. As we all know, identity theft is not a joke. Have you guys fallen prey into any such cyber crimes or cyber attacks personally, or do you know someone like Rhy mentioned Karishma, your friend,
Yeah. So
had an experience?
so basically there are these kinds of basically we all receive spam emails, etc. But there was this one instance where my friend had received this email and from a fictitious company, of course, I think it was something of that sort. But then there was this link to unsubscribe to that email. But then when she clicked on that to obviously unsubscribe, but that link was also actually a fishy link to another website, and that actually got her involved in this loop of cybercrime. Like this, I mean, sorry, yeah. So she was basically basically became a victim to all of this just by clicking this. So these minute things we have to be aware of. So yeah.
That's correct. Some of our viewers are also sharing their experience. Moving on to my second question, Karishma is directed to you. What kind of cyber laws will help us curb these various forms of cyber crime? Are they actually up to date with the latest forms of cyber attacks?
So, like Rhy mentioned, a lot of different cyber crimes that are there. So, there are a lot of crimes that are increasing. For example, phishing, for example, is one of the most dangerous kind of crimes and most available. Like this crime is actually mostly done via email, and since all of us usually have must have encountered such spam or phishing emails. And so basically, there are these crimes that are there, and there are laws. For example, if we just talk about India, so India per se doesn't have a particular cyber security related law, a dedicated one, but it surely has a few laws. For example, the IT Act, and so there are sections like Section 43, Section 66 of the IT Act that deal with such instances of cybercrime. Then there are other laws, other specific laws like the Indian Penal Code, and then there is Companies Act, which deal with the specific sort of cybercrime. So, like we have a lot of distributed sort of legislations for combating this menace, but the problem comes when, like, if you ask me that does India have a full-fledged specific legislation, or a full-fledged system to combat this menace? I would say that although we have a few laws here and there, but there's no one uniform law. So what we are seeking here is uniformity in all the laws, so that there is all the major types of crimes that Rhy had also mentioned. We have to have legislations to combat these crimes, and we can't really rely on the revised laws and the amendments that the government is doing in the specific laws, in my opinion. So, I mean, that's a very ad hoc way of dealing with such crimes. So, so basically, we need new compliances, etc., to like for a specific law that specifically deals with cyber security related crimes.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we are still struggling with data protection bill. So let's hope we evolve soon. Rhy, coming to you. How wide is the spectrum of dangers associated with data breaches, and are netizens actually affected?
Interesting question. So, as I stated earlier, there's multiple forms of cyber crimes, and these affect each person their own way. But as a whole, data breaches are, lethal really for all kinds of people, ranging from individuals to companies to, like legal persons. So, coming to the specifics. Personally identifiable information. This can be any information such as PAN number, Aadhaar PIN, any such confidential documents that we may be trying to share securely, but in the process we might end up losing our birth dates or personal contact information or educational status, any such personal information that is contained on confidential documents. This is especially dangerous for people from marginalized groups, because if your personal marginalized groups, and I'd like to put emphasis on celebrities. So when celebrities contact information or their addresses are leaked, they are thronged with fans, and maybe even some people with malicious intent. An example of such is the online like transgender YouTuber Kefals. She was recently doxxed, and her address was constantly being leaked online through some cues and such. So she actually had to flee the country. This is the extent to which such kind of information being leaked could reach. Then there's financial information, of course, card number, expiry dates, bank account details, investment details, similar data. People with low financial intelligence, or even people with high financial intelligence but low net awareness, they are susceptible to such kinds of, leaks. With the rise of the internet, there's many e-commerce platforms that have popped up, and it can be said that they work for the general good. But along with these e-commerce platforms have come fishy websites, have come, websites with low encryption standards, websites which sell our data to third parties. So we must pay attention always to the exact cookies that we are accepting and the permissions being granted. I know that all of us hate reading the fine print, but at least as law students, we must go through these privacy terms. We must, even on Instagram, there was some, update. We must go through such information to exactly be in charge of our own data. Then there's health information. So this includes details on health conditions, prescription drugs, treatment, medical records. Such information is used by hospitals all across the world, not even just our country, just the world. So the leak of such kind of sensitive information could affect the individual patients of each hospital. Of course, there's intellectual property and competition information. The research and development departments in all companies work hard day and night on developing new and innovative, business methods or market practice or market studies to build a competitive edge over their, market partners. So, such leads are especially dangerous for up and coming companies because their unique ways of functioning might be stolen. Then, of course, most important for us to know would be legal information. This includes documentation on court cases. It includes legal opinion on business practices, merger and acquisition details, private legal documents, regulatory rulings, anything of such kind. So, breach of such data could also result in the non-voluntary breach of attorney-client privilege. Although such illegally obtained information may not be admitted in a court of law, it could give opposing parties an upper hand in negotiations and such. So, lawyers and people in the legal field, especially, should pay special advantage to their security and to installing antivirus software and such. Then there's IT security data. So when such data is leaked, entire critical information infrastructure of countries can go down. This can result in various netizens, not being able to access crucial information that they need from day to day. So this could also lead to disastrous, consequences for the economy. So we must check the encryption practices of the websites we use every day. We must check the network structure, the security strategies, and especially we must strengthen our usernames and passwords in such a way that such leaks don't happen. I think that brings me to the end of kinds of leaks. We can move on.
Really great points, especially some really nice tips for the budding lawyers who are watching us right now. Moving on, Karishma, my question to you is, where does India stand on the issue of cybercrime prevention and punishment?
I'm sorry, could you just repeat yourself?
Where does India stand on the issue of cybercrime prevention and punishment?
Yeah, so like as I discussed before, so basically the thing is that right now there have been a lot of increase in cyber crimes, especially like after COVID. There like and during the time of COVID as well, like we had noticed that so many cybercrime bureau also like the like they published reports that said that how the crime rate in India has like cybercrime rate in India has increased 11% from the time before. So like such a whopping increase in cyber crimes is like it's corollary to basically like as technology also advances, the types of crime advance and for example like as you try to make better cybersecurity provisions, the hackers are also upping their game side by side by making new forms of breaches, and all of this is happening on the side. So like currently in India, like there are a lot of like the crime rates have definitely increased by like obviously the reports that we see. So right now what we have to do is like what we need to focus is on the loopholes in the current legislations that are there. So the thing is that it's the loopholes in the legislations are like bugs in a code. So the more susceptible a country becomes to cyber crimes if its laws are actually very weak. So in case of India, for example, or if we even talk like locally in Mumbai itself, like there has been an 18% rise in the cyber crimes, and the current ground status of all of this is that like if you try to report all of these crimes, also the system isn't very full-fledged, because for example like the police, for example, if you try to approach the police is sometimes also hesitant to like take such investigations in hand, because of the simple fact that investigations in such crimes is also like very difficult. There's very less detection rate. so as to save people, like to save the police is like sometimes it comes on the to the onto the reputation, and because there's no full-fledged system to track all of these things, uh, all of this is a consequence of all of this, like consequence of the weak legislations, I would say. And so, and also that we have noticed that in India itself and around the world, the cyber criminals identify few hotspots of like committing these crimes. So, what exactly needs to be done is that we have to identify these hotspots, and we should not stop at that, because these hotspots are also like continuously changing. And like once if it's a state in UP, then like if it's a city in UP, then there's like these cyber criminals change their spots also very spontaneously. So we have to like we have to have a full-fledged system to identify this and take inspiration from other countries as well that have a system that's developing. And also, what we can do is, like, as I mentioned, there are certain cyber cells also in most cities in India. But there are a lot of cyber cells, but there are some cities that are devoid of the same. So what we need to do is also expand the number of cyber cells, for example, and like combat these problems at the ground level, and make it easy for the netizens also, and make it easy for the people who are the victims to report this, because then that the problem comes when you have the legislation but you still don't have the correct redressal mechanism. That actually, that dichotomy, that's very dangerous.
I remember last year when we were doing R&D on this, the numbers that we discovered were very staggering to us, and yeah, some really great points raised, and I hope that we do evolve like other countries. I think New Zealand is one of the prominent countries to have really great cyber laws. So here's hoping that we evolve too. So, like we discussed a couple of cyber crimes and how dangerous they are, and like even Karishma mentioned some statistics. They're rising every day. So my question to you is, what phishing techniques should internet users be aware of, and how can they recognize phishing scam or attack?
Right. So at the moment, scammers use mainly text or emails to try to steal your passwords, your account numbers, or social security numbers. If they get that information, they could also get access to your email or bank accounts. So there's many methods by which you can kind of recognize that your security may be compromised. Say you've noticed some suspicious activities or login attempts. Google as well as Instagram, to the extent of my knowledge, send login attempts to your email. If this attempt is not made by you, you could pay attention to this. You could change your password. Say there's a problem with your account or your payment information. That you need to confirm some personal or financial information that you did not give anyone access to. You are sent an invoice on your email ID that you don't recognize, and that purchase that you have not made. Or say you've been sent a coupon for free stuff, but the website seems fishy and they're just trying to extract your data. There's many such like methods by which you can, once you start looking and once you start reading reviews and such, you would recognize these methods. Say someone wants you to click on the link to make a payment. Say you're eligible to register for a government refund, but this email is not sent by an official government number or by an official government ID. All of these are common tactics that scammers use. They could also try to pose as someone reliable. So say, someone sends you a text message. The name tag could read HDFC Bank, but these are usually strategies used by scammers. So we must pay attention to what kind of emails we get, what kind of text messages we get, because they're often trying to get you to divulge your personal information. Also, if like this is a strategy that I personally use to see if what I'm receiving is a scam. The email has a generic greeting. Your personal name has not been mentioned. It says that your account is on hold because of some kind of billing issue or some kind of, other such issues. It invites you to click on a link that you do not remember visiting in the past. I usually tend to avoid such emails, and the best way to do so is just to straight up delete and block via the Gmail feature itself, and not via any of the options that they provide. Some other ways to protect yourself could be turning on multi-factor authentication, to setting your mobile to the highest possible software protection, to use security software, and to back up your data in case it is lost. I think that's all for phishing, and I'd like Akansha to go ahead.
Thank you, Ram. I mean, everyone here can relate. How many times have we asked our parents to not click on, unknown links? Guys, please don't click on unknown links. Coming to you, Karishma, we talked about phishing a lot, but I think a lot of us can be confused between phishing and a spam. So, how does one distinguish between spam and phishing, and which possesses more risk?
Yeah, so like as I mentioned, like there are emails that are sent to you by a reputable website or a reputable person, and the credentials seem reputable for like on the face of it, but then they're masquerading behind some other name. So like the thing is that a lot of times spam emails. So basically, if you want to classify spam and phishing, it's a very simple criteria. It's that spam emails are basically any email that can also be safe also and not just harmful. Spam emails are usually used for example, marketing by companies and like commercial advertisements and usually unwanted commercial advertisements that you really don't like or want. So that usually goes into the spam folder. Like it's very different from when my assignments go to my teacher's spam folder. It's different, but yeah. So the thing is that spam messages need not always be dangerous, but when it comes to phishing, uh, so as you mentioned, like which one's more dangerous, right? So the thing is that spam in itself isn't dangerous, but when you receive a spam email that has a phishing like the intent of phishing in it, like basically phishing emails are more targeted towards you, and these messages contain links that are, as Rhy mentioned, links that are fraudulent or links that are designed to be malicious in nature. And so attachments are sent to you through those emails with which also contain like malware in them or some things like that. So those are the basic like those are the basic differences between spamming and spam emails and phishing emails, and also the idea that a reputable person or a reputable website sends you all of this. So like next time Obama is telling you that you are eligible to receive a few $1 million in your account, so obviously that's something that you don't fall for. But yeah, to be very honest, these phishing emails can also be very discreet and very benign in nature that you might not even identify. So it's better to look into it as to whether you even know that website, or whether, like as I mentioned, whether it's a new website or whether you've asked for that service or not. So that's there.
I'll keep it in mind next time Obama sends me a message. I won't fall for it. Thanks, Karishma. Moving on. What is the technical way forward, right, to restore safe access to one's hacked email, bank, and social media accounts?
Interesting. So, first of all, recognizing that your social media account or such has been hacked, if they're making posts that you didn't make, if you can't log into your accounts yourself, if your backup emails are not working, if your sent folder has messages that you didn't send, or it has been completely empty, you see nothing on your, accounts. Or if there's any messages, of course, being sent with random links or fake pleas for money that you didn't send. So some steps that you can take to gain access back to your account as well as to safeguard it moving forward would be first and foremost would be changing your passwords. Change your passwords if you're still able to log in. That is, change the password right away. If you use similar passwords for other accounts, scammers are very aware of these things, because the general person, they use the same password for 100 different websites, and this is something that I had personal experience with last year as well. So make sure you create strong passwords that will be harder to guess. You, if you want to, you could write them down in a notebook that only you have access to and keep it for safeguard in your own home, but don't give anyone else access to such documents. If you can't log in to change your password, check the advice your specific email provider or social network has available. Many popular email service providers, as well as social media websites, they have proper instructions on their websites on how to restore and protect your account. So if someone's taken over your account, you might need to fill out many forms to prove that it's really you who's trying to get back in. But you must do so in order to safeguard yourself. If you haven't been hacked yet, please set up multi-factor authentication. Provide your provide your email account. Provide your phone number. Provide your WhatsApp. Anything works, but make sure that no hacker can try to access your accounts through just one easy to guess password. Check your account settings. Make sure that you have the most level of security on. Um, Update your security software. So you could run a scan. This is for devices such as laptops, desktops, and such. Install antivirus software. Run regular security checks on all of your devices. You could also check your settings and look for tracks if you have been, if your social media accounts or your bank accounts have been compromised. You could try to get in touch with customer service personnel that have been mentioned on the official website. Always rely on the official information provided through such websites themselves, because they are the experts on their own platforms. So if your Instagram account has been compromised, before even approaching a friend saying, "Bhai, main kya karu?" You could maybe approach the Instagram website itself, because even there, their users have a lot of experience on the specifics of such kinds of happening. So yes, that's mostly it.
I think when it comes to setting passwords, one of the most common type is setting your password by your crush's name or something. Guys, please don't do it. It's not very secure. And like Rhy mentioned, even if if it takes a long time, you should be more. You should put more efforts towards making sure that your passwords and your accounts are secured, because actually a lot of data has been breached already. You might not be aware, but your account might have been breached, your data might have been breached already. And thank you, Rhy, for those tips and ways. Karishma, my question to you is, how can individuals go about reporting cybercrimes in India, and what are the various legal remedies that one can seek?
So, there's this one common issue that's there. So, a lot of us talk, through the Cyber Awareness Week also, or Cyber Awareness Month, we've all talked about a lot of crimes, a lot of types of crimes, and how you should keep your password secure, what you should do. But in the moment of panic, when this this cybercrime actually takes place, people usually don't have an idea as to what should be the next step to undo all of this, or to report all of this. Where should we go? So, like a lot of us, if it's a social media related thing, we go on to Twitter, whichever requisite website that's there, and we report our thing over there, etc. That's just one way of doing it. But there are crimes like banking frauds. There are bigger crimes which need attention right then, and which need attention by authorities that are the requisite authorities basically. So the thing is that one thing that you should always keep in mind is to report the crime as soon as that has happened. So for example, if your banking details have been compromised, for example, it's more easy to block the whatever transaction is going to happen, or whatever transaction has happened from a bank account that you haven't done, it's easier to block it in the first 1 or 2 hours. That's there. But if you delay it for a long time, then that's an issue. So how to go about even reporting all of this, right? So that's one question. So as I have previously also mentioned, so most of the cities have these cyber cells in place. But so basically what you have to do is you just go to those cyber cells and report your crime. They'll ask you for your details, like your name, your number, and your email, etc., and details of whatever has happened whenever it has happened. So all of those details are there. And then you basically have to and you don't have to comply with any sort of jurisdiction. For what I mean is that cyber crimes are global, have global jurisdiction. So if you happen to, if that crime happened to be committed in some other city, and you're in some other city when you realize it, that's okay. That they won't deny from taking your complaint over there in that cyber cell. So whatever crime is there, just remember that nobody can say no to you as such about registering your complaint, etc. And for example, if there is a instance where the city you are in, or the city you want to report your crime in, it doesn't have a cyber cell, etc., installed. So what you do is you go to the police station, and in absence of such cyber cells, they'll file an FIR for you. So the catch is that if the police is not ready to file the FIR, etc., so you can basically approach the commissioner or the judicial magistrate over there, and to report your crime. So it really there are online and offline ways of dealing with this problem. I've mentioned one online and one offline way, but there's this one particular aspect that Cybercell has also previously covered in their story highlights, which is registering your registering your complaints in the NCCRP portal. And you can access that in their highlights. And this basically is that if you have any crime to report, this is a very interesting way of reporting, and it's a very easy and handy way of reporting your crime. And so basically these are the things. And for example, as Rhy had also mentioned, for example, if you happen to have experienced this cyber crime in one of the social media portals, right? Just remember to do your groundwork about what's the privacy policy, and what are the guidelines this particular portal has to report your cybercrime. Most of the time, the sites do have such redressal mechanisms, and just remember to file the complaint as soon as you've received the information of such a crime happened to you.
That's absolutely correct. And you also mentioned, one of our story highlights, Cyberlink, has details about this. You can check the stats and all. And thank you, Karishma, for that information. Rhy, concluding with you, what are some safety precautions every netizen can take on a personal level to ensure a hassle-free browsing experience?
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank Karishma because she covered the legal aspects very well. There were some points that I'd left out, but Karishma covered them pretty well. Moving on, some measures that you could take on a technical level to safeguard your access would be to use a VPN to hide your IP. Whenever you're browsing through the web, and secured websites are still fine, but say you're accessing some websites that might not have the best security practices, it's best to use a VPN as soon as you turn your browsing experience on, so as to prevent any such information leaks. You can use security software. Of course, this one's a no-brainer, but it gets ignored by most. So a good antivirus can be the difference between an enjoyable time on the web versus having to junk your laptop altogether and buy a new one. Sometimes, it reaches the bots, as I'd mentioned previously, reach to such an extent that your device becomes entirely unusable, and random things such as camera, microphone turn on when you don't intend for them to. So malware is present in suspicious sites, but some malware also lurks in more popular sites like on torrenting or social media websites. So it's best to use a VPN and a good antivirus software to prevent such practices. Um, Thirdly, install more secure internet browsers. So NSS published a study comparing several popular browsers in the end of 2016, I believe. This study showed that Microsoft Edge blocked almost 99% of the malicious samples, as opposed to Chrome, which blocked 85%, and Mozilla Firefox, which blocked only 78%. So do your research. I know Google Chrome is the go-to for most people, but I have realized that it's better to be safe than sorry, especially when your laptop has sensitive information such as bank details. Fourthly, regularly update your operating system. Companies, especially tech companies, they know what kind of strategies hackers are using. They know what kind of bots can be introduced. They know what kind of loopholes are present in their current operating systems. So they try to overcome them by updating their systems. As long as you're keeping your system updated and your laptop is running properly, your security is about 50% higher. So you should definitely keep that in mind. Lastly, I believe you should log out of secure websites even after transactions are done, and you should avoid saving your passwords on any such websites. Continuous login would still be okay, but if you're making a bank transaction, let's say, it's best to remove that account or log out of that account and before just closing the browser. Just closing the browser doesn't automatically log out your account, which makes it more susceptible to hacking and more, like open to hackers to access. So these are some tips and tricks that have also helped me in the past, but that's about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I've switched my browsers from Google Chrome to Brave now because it's much more secure. So, yeah, thank you for those points as well. Before I conclude, any last or concluding remarks or anything you guys want to add?
Yeah, just one thing that so there are like a lot of times we fail to identify, like as I mentioned, we fail to identify where to report our problems, etc. And as I mentioned, the cyber cells that are there in a lot of cities, what we can do is like we'll upload a list of cyber cells that are there in India, and we'll be posting it in our story highlights, and you all can access that list from there.
That's a really great answer. Thank you. Thank you so much, Karishma. Dad, do you want to add anything?
No, mostly I'd like to appreciate you for hosting this event perfectly. And it's been great interacting here. And we'll be posting this video on our profile itself in case anyone has not been able to join in. So make sure you tell your friends about that. That's about all.
So there we have it. Before we conclude, I would extend my gratitude to Team Legal Aid for approaching us and making this collaboration happen. Special mention to Chairperson of Legal Aid, Sushmita, who couldn't join us today, but we really appreciate your help. Moving on, thank you so much, Karishma, for joining us and giving us your valuable inputs and making this collaboration possible. But I would be remiss if I don't thank your team as well, especially Ariman, Rakshita, Ananya, and Chave, who made the PR and who made it for PR and content team, your PR and content team, who made it possible for the collaboration. And lastly, I would like to thank my wonderful team, starting off with my researchers, Avika, Rishita, Yashita. Then we have our amazing design team. And if you check out our page, our design is one of our strongest assets, and you can see really amazing creators. you should thank Radhika and Aishi for that, and our PR team, Vaishnavi Chahat and Aryaman. Lastly, I would be remiss if I fail to thank my amazing Vice Chairperson Rhy, who joined us today, gave us valuable gave these valuable inputs and made this collaboration possible. Who has been after signatures of faculties and has been running and making this collaboration possible. Thank you so much, Rhy. And yes, I'll also like to thank the audience for joining us and being so interactive and showing us your love. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you soon. And oh yeah, Rhy.
Of course. We'll see you soon. And in addition to all these people, nothing would have been possible without the support of our wonderful faculty members, Dr. Paranaz Mehta, Ms. Deepika Changani, Ms. Khyati Nayak, and Karishma, if you would like to mention.
Yes, Ms. Afreen ma'am and Priya ma'am as well. So yes, their support has also been very essential in this endeavor. And thank you, Cybercell, for this initiative.
It would have been, we would have been remiss if we did not mention our faculties. I apologize for not mentioning them before. Thank you, guys. See you soon. This ends our collaboration with Legal Aid, and we will put out amazing content on our page. So make sure you follow our pages. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
you.
Well.